everyone, this is Brittnee Bond, and welcome back to the podcast. If you're watching visually, you'll see that I brought the sun. Right when I was setting up this podcast, it was super cloudy, so I got next to the window, and now it's really sunny, and I love it. I am reporting live from Berlin, and this episode is going to be super powerful, super intense, and I hope very activating and inspiring for all of you. It it has been a roller coaster, let's just say that, to come here into Europe, because it's a lot easier for me, of course, to stay on my beautiful island home, like with it being in paradise, so much nature, with my dog and all my community. And when I come out here, I just feel that the world is very loud, very intense. And there's a lot of people who are not super happy, and if you're someone who is very grounded in yourself, grounded in your center, grounded in your mission, it can feel more, I'll say, opportunities for growth, more challenging to be out here in the world, because the main thing that I'm feeling is how disconnected people feel from themselves, from each other, from nature, from their soul mission. Take a deep breath on that one. So in this podcast, I want to go into that and to share some tips. So if you're feeling disconnected, if you're feeling like I'm not sure what I'm doing with my life or what's going on in the world, then this podcast is for you, and it's for all of us, because I want to be able to listen to this as well when I am down and when I'm not in my center, and be like, oh yeah, I need to remember these things. Because something I've realized is that it's all about us remembering the things that we already know. So we already know what we're meant to do. We already know that we are totally connected to ourselves and to each other and to the universe, God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it. It's just that we sometimes feel disconnected, and it's in that coming back to our center, coming back to our connection, where we learn a lot of things. So it's all beautiful. It's all opportunities for growth. I always say that ironically, because that's what my mentor used to say to me, and I was always getting upset at him, like, why can't it just be easy? And they're like, well, this is how you grow. This is what you chose as a human, So, like I was saying, I'm here in Berlin. I really enjoy it. I love Berlin. Like, I really enjoy the energy here. I feed off of the energy that is like community vibes, that's eclectic, that's everyone being their unique, weirdly wonderful selves. And I definitely feel that that is the city of Berlin. It's like when people talk about it being, it's not the rest of Germany, it's its own little bubble. And I feel that's very similar to how Koh Phangan is on the island in Thailand where I live. Because people are like, how is it? And I'm like, it's basically not Thailand. It's just kind of its own little universe there. And that's kind of how Berlin is for me. I'm staying, if you're looking in the background, you're like, why is she in an office setting? I'm staying at my friend Torga's co-living space that he made here in Berlin. And it's really beautiful. It's like 2 apartments, with I think 8 bedrooms, and a really beautiful community of people that have lived here. The core people have lived here for about 4 years. And then all of us coming and going in between all of that. And it just feels very at home here. Like I feel in this community. I mean, and when I walk out the door, there's like the coffee shops that I like, the trains right here. My friend let me borrow a bicycle. So the gym is like close by, the parks, everything. So it's very much my environment where I can just like get really inspired by everything around me. Something that I think is important to talk about in this podcast is, the world is in a really interesting place right now. So us younger generation, like when we were coming into the world, when we're inheriting the world from our parents, from, our elders, we already knew that the world was in a pretty dire place. Like, with global warming, with wars that are happening, with different political things that are happening in the world right now. There's a lot of reason where there's a lot of motivation for us to be discouraged or in fear. So I'm saying that because it's really important to acknowledge it. And when we acknowledge it, we understand like, okay, so I have the option to, go deeper into that fear, or I can choose a different reality. And that's what I'm bringing to you today, because I think most of the world feeds off of the fear that they're creating within us, or that they're trying to create within us, because I think it's also our choice whether we buy into that or not. If you've listened to any of my podcasts, you'll notice that I say something a lot, and this is my personal mantra for myself, is to stay in my center. And what that means is for me to energetically feel that I am in my soft place, that I am in my place where I'm believing and trusting that everything is working out for me and that everything is beautiful in the universe. Excuse me. I've had a little bit of a sickness since I've come to Europe. I think it's just the integration of like hot, cold, hot, the weather that I've experienced here, and also just all the different energies. But what I was going to say is that for me, staying in my center is being able to operate from a place where I am acknowledging all the different parts of myself that have different needs. Like there's an inner child part of me that like really wants to play. There's the visionary in me, the adult part of me that wants to help everyone in the world. There's all these different personalities, constructs inside of me that have different needs, and I'm acknowledging all of those. So if you've heard of something called internal family systems, this is what I'm referring to, or IFS therapy. You can Google that. It's really great. I really enjoy IFS. But when you have a core operating system inside of you, and that core operating system, the person who's running the show in your psyche, when that part of you is acknowledging that you are grounded, you are safe, everything's okay, then you're able to operate your whole perspective on the world from a place of being in your center. And that means like being neutral and being more in the observing mode. So when you look in like Buddhist theology, or like I did a Vipassana retreat, which is a 10-day silent meditation retreat at a Buddhist monastery. And the one thing that they were always trying to get us to do was like, look at a perspective of everything as if you're the observer. I don't necessarily think that this is like how we should operate our whole reality. I like to pick and choose from different spiritual concepts, because I do believe that we are choosing to have a human experience. And something that I personally have had to work on, especially recently, was the fact that I am such the observer in my reality that sometimes I don't allow myself to feel things all the way through. And that's really important, to allow ourselves to be human. So even though I feel like a hybrid or an alien most of the time, I just feel like I'm not, I'm just like kind of popping in here into this lifetime and like helping everyone around me. I also believe that, my soul chose to be human, and it's important for me to allow myself to feel that. And sometimes that can mean just allowing the energy through your body. So if you're feeling a certain emotion, without needing to attach a story to it, you can just, we call it emote, like EMOTE. That literally means just allowing the energy through your body. I had some times on the island right before I left where there was some stressful things happening. And I just remember like going into the sea and just like screaming underwater and just allowing the energy through my body. I felt so much better after that. Like, do you want to know like what it feels like? It just feels like, you can just finally rest and relax inside your body. Most of us, like invite you right now to really tune into your body and ask yourself, like, how do I feel in my body right now? And you'll notice that you're like, some of you might notice that you are feeling tense. A lot of us carry like just general tension and anxiety in our body. And when you acknowledge it, that's the first step. And then you can ask yourself, like, how best can I release this? Maybe you can take a deep breath. Maybe you can go scream into a pillow. Like whatever it is, maybe you need to go talk to someone about whatever it is that's bottled up inside of you. Maybe it's a conversation you need to have. Maybe you need to go to the gym and just like work it out, I found that being in Europe, like going to the gym is such a resource for me, just being able to like move that energy through my body. But something I really want to talk about in this podcast is the fact that we are in a pivotal moment in time right now where we're like us younger generation is inheriting the world that is like very fucked up. So it's like we can sit here and be upset about it. And I think it's important just to kind of like acknowledge this for a second. So like me on the island, I am in a very isolated bubble of reality. I totally acknowledge this and recognize it, right? And that's also why I'm coming out into the world. Since I've been in Berlin, I've been connecting to friends here. And I went to a birthday party last week sometime, like the end of last week. And I was talking to some of the people at this party. And a lot of them were checking in with each other about their mental health. And we were talking about like psychedelics, and like one of the people was saying like, yeah, I don't feel comfortable taking psychedelics because my mental health has been pretty low. And, you know, I've just stopped going to therapy and this and that. And then other people were like checking in. What does that mean? Like how, like, is this person really okay? They were asking, I'm like, are you really okay? Like, should you go back to therapy? And then I was asking my friend that I went with, and I was like, why is everyone talking so much about their mental health right now? And he was my friend who brought me. He was like, well, everyone is pretty depressed these days. And I'm like, and this is where I really feel like an alien a lot of times, because I was asking him, I was like, but why are they so depressed? Like, what's wrong? And like, did something bad happen in their life? And he was like, my friend who brought me was like, no, I think it's just the general feeling in the world, like especially for us younger generation, to inherit, you know, an earth that's kind of falling apart, and with the, you know, just all the things happening in the world. I don't even need to name them. And then he was just like, it's pretty normal, or what I've clocked, or like what I've noticed with my friends is that everyone is facing some sort of depression, anxiety, mental health thing on some level. It's a sliding scale, right? But on some level they're dealing with it. And I was just looking at him like, really? Like, and okay, so if you're listening to this and you're thinking, of course, this is normal, I want you to know that like, I literally do not live in that reality. And so this is also why I left the island, because I want to be more in tune with what's happening in the world. And I think in the past I was so into my own specific communities that I was working with that I wasn't really paying attention to what was happening in the outside world. And I think there is something to this where like, you know, we have to focus on what we can affect and what we can change. But right now I'm kind of in this explorer mode where I'm like looking at what's going on in the world and seeing how best that I can show up. And I've also had a bunch of you reaching out to me and asking me to talk about this subject. And so that's why I'm making this podcast now, because in person, I'm realizing this is a thing that's needed. And also online, you guys are reaching out. And the one subject that keeps coming back is something about suicide and suicide ideation. So I just want to talk about this for a second before I dive in, is that even the topic of suicide can be very triggering for a lot of people. And the reason why that is because as humans, we have this kind of internal primal need, like our physical mind, to survive and to make sure that we are alive and we keep going. So even talking about this subject can be very alarming for our physical mind, the ego part of us, which is a healthy part of us that wants to keep us going and wants to make sure that we survive. And it's like this very primal instinct. So I want to speak to that part of you right now and to tell you that this conversation I'm having with you is to empower you and to encourage you to stay alive in this timeline. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. It's a very positive conversation. And I hope that you can walk away from this conversation that we're having even more inspired and activated to really enjoy your life. And also, it's really important to talk about these things. So I had someone reach out to me and say that, like, you know, like, I love listening to your podcast, and I have like such a good, every time I listen to your podcast, I feel more grounded, I feel more centered, and I feel like they were saying, like, I feel really kind of nervous to ask you about this because we as a culture have so much shame around suicide because this physical mind part of us is like, this is the opposite of what we should be doing, you know, like we need to stay alive in this life, like we need to keep going. And also there's many reasons why, but I will just speak to that one. So there's a lot of shame around talking about this, and there's a lot of shame around just anything around the idea of suicide. So this person, one of you beautiful listeners, was asking me, like, you know, I have times in my life where I don't actually want to kill myself, but I just feel like, what's the point of living? Like, what are we even doing here? You know? So this is what we call suicidal ideation. So you thinking of the idea of suicide and you're kind of idealizing it. Like, maybe that's better than staying alive in this timeline. Like, maybe it's better to just, they call it self-delete, which is when you kill yourself. And what I want to speak to about this is that I myself have also had these moments. So it's not like, I think there's some shame around this, that like, if you're not living your best life, or, you know, like if you were doing better, if you were doing what you were supposed to, you're not going to ever feel this or something. Like, fuck that. I don't agree with that at all. What I want to say is that in today's world, we are just doing our best to get by in a very insane world right now. And if you are a sensitive creature like I am, and I think many of you are that are listening to this, it is very normal to look into the world and be like, what the heck is going on? Why are people hurting each other? Why are we not working together as a collective to take care of each other, to take care of ourselves, to take care of nature, to take care of animals? Like, what are we doing? You know, like literally, what are we doing here? And to feel this overwhelm of what's happening in the world. And for me, like what has helped me, I took some notes, so I want to look at these notes. I think I just wanted to share the story about like, I shared it in one of my previous podcasts, but this is something that I find to be really super interesting. And you hear it when you like, I've heard a couple like, you know, like Will Smith and like some other like people who are considered very successful in today's world, where they get the thing that they've always wanted and then they feel super depressed. So like for me this last year, after my last breakup last summer, I decided to focus all my energy on building out the impact that I wanted to make in the world, and also to create a really beautiful 3D reality for myself. So, you know, I got like the best villa on the island, and I was throwing all these parties, and, you know, like I had all these lovers, and I actually wasn't really sleeping with any of them, but I was like, you know, I was going on dates, and I was having a great time. I was living my best life as I had imagined it at that moment in time. And I felt so depressed. And there were moments where I was actually going through what we would call suicidal ideation, where I wouldn't have ever like actually killed myself, but I was really feeling this kind of existential dread, I think is the best way to think about it or to describe it. And I was just like, what's the point of any of this, you know? And I've heard other successful people say this. So this is why I'm like, okay, it's not just me. And so I started to research this, and I started to ask myself, like, what do I need right now in order to feel better about life? And this is the thing that I really want to share with you, is that there's very specific things that our bodies need. So like our physical bodies need in order to feel good in this life, in order to want to keep going. There are emotional things that we need, and I'll go into each of these. And then there are spiritual things that we need in order to keep going. So I'm going to break these down for you, and I hope that they can help you as they helped me to get through this moment in my life. And I think that, again, I don't ever make myself feel guilty about having these feelings. I'm just like, okay, I'm here. So like, let's work with this. Like, what can we do to make this better? So I really invite you also to, like, if you are going through this, or if you've ever gone through this in the past, it's okay. And also just like talk about it with the people that have earned the right to hear your story, like the people that you trust. Like really allow yourself to open up and be vulnerable about it, because that's also really important. And what you'll start noticing is that so many more people have gone through this than you realize. And I think that's something that will also help with this when we realize, oh, we're not the only ones that are dealing with these feelings, and to feel like connected in that experience. Okay, so let's go through some of the things that really helped me. So first off, one was just to acknowledge, like, this is where I'm at. So from a mental standpoint, to be like, okay, I'm going to be gentle with myself. It's okay. I'm having these feelings. Mentally, what can I do right now in order to feel better? And what I started to do was I realized that I needed to, I mean, mental, emotional, spiritual, these are all kind of going to be connected in this moment when I talk about this, which is basically like, I realized that I had accomplished everything I wanted to in my life up until that moment. And so I needed to have a bigger dream. I needed to dream bigger. I needed to allow myself to dream bigger. And I needed to believe in myself that it was possible possible, and also that I deserved to receive the things that I was about to dream up. Because sometimes our biggest fears are actually the things that we desire the most. So like people say, what's your biggest fear? And it's like, yeah, I could fear something going wrong. But sometimes our biggest fears are that everything goes right. And the reason why it's a funny thing to say, right? The reason why sometimes our biggest fear is that things work out is because we have to face internal beliefs on whether we actually deserve to receive that thing. So do I deserve to receive the money that I'm manifesting? Do I deserve to receive the beautiful life partner that I would love to have in my life? Do I deserve to receive like a community of people that are supporting me and that I support them and like I feel nourished by? So the first thing that I needed to do, and I invite you to do this, is to sit down. So get it out of your head and into some 3D reality in some way. So to sit down and write out, what is my vision for the future? I actually do what I call I call making soul contracts with the universe. So, for instance, the universe is really calling me to go to LA. So I'm going to go to LA this year. I moved there. This is something that was really scaring me because I was like, what am I going to do in LA? Like, like my life is in Thailand. I've lived in Thailand for almost 10 years. Like, why am I going backward? It feels like I'm going backwards. And so I sat down and I said to the universe, God, source, whatever you want to call it. And I was like, okay, if you want me to go shine my light in LA, these are the things that I need. And I wrote out like very specific things, like this amount of money, this amount of support, this amount of soul family. I want to live in this environment when I'm there. I want to be able to work on these kind of projects. And when I saw it on paper and I was like visualizing it in my meditations after that, I started to get excited about life again. I was like, wow, okay, yeah, this is scaring me more than most things have scared me, because it's really putting myself out there in the world in a way that I haven't before. And I think especially as a woman and like allowing ourselves to be seen, especially as a very sensitive person, I was just like, wow, this is really exciting and also super scary. But I started to feel alive again. I started to feel like, oh, I want to live. I want to keep playing this beautiful game of life. The second thing was my physical health. So I call it going into mission mode when you're having these moments when you're feeling like really depleted or depressed or suicidal, is to really take care of your body as if that is your job, that is your mission in life. So to eat really healthy, so eat as many vegetables and fruits as you can, to get enough protein in whatever way that means for you, to go to the gym as much as you can, or to exercise as much as you can. So like for me, my goal is to sweat every single day. So whether that's riding my bicycle or going to the gym for a workout, or even sometimes sweating every day means going to the sauna. But, it's like doing something where my body is being activated in a physical way. Making sure I get enough sleep. So this might sound like a very small thing, but it's not. Like getting enough sleep is so, so important. I notice when I'm in a depressive state, sometimes I can't sleep because I keep overthinking things. Um, and then my natural reflex for that is to want to watch TV. And what I notice is that it's better for me to read books right before I sleep instead of watch TV. They say that actually it's better to like not look at a screen for like 2 hours or at least 1 hour before you fall asleep. So especially since I've gotten to Europe, I've been doing this where I have a couple of physical copy books. In Thailand, it's hard to get copies of physical books, so it's like really special to have them. And I have a couple of books, and I like reading physical copy books. There's something about it that makes me feel very nostalgic. So I've been reading those before I fall asleep, and it's been really helping me because I fall asleep naturally. Like I'll fall asleep like reading with like the book like falling on my face. I'm like, oh, okay, now I need to go to sleep. Whereas I notice when I watch TV, I can just like sit and like binge watch for hours, and they say it actually turns off this certain part of your brain that can recognize that you're actually tired. This is why it's very dangerous. Not dangerous, but like not healthy to watch TV right before you sleep. Because you become more disconnected from your body instead of more connected. And so when it comes to like a spiritual part of all of this, I find that to feel that you are part of something that is bigger than yourself. So this is like your soul mission. Like all of us have natural talents that we are here to share with the world. And if you're like, I don't know what those talents are, like I definitely like don't know if I know what those are. It's okay. What I have found to be a tip in figuring out what that is that there's a really beautiful quote that an author named Brittnee said. She said that like our biggest heartaches are the biggest gifts that we can give the world. So if you look at your life and you ask yourself, what are the hard things that I've been through? What are the things that I personally have struggled with? And then you like really analyze that. Like I'll give you an example for myself. Like I have had a really hard time with my own personal connection to community. So if you don't know me very well, this is like a very funny thing to say because people see me and they're like, wow, Brittnee is always surrounded by people. She always has her community around and da-da-da. And she has her soul family she's built like around the whole world over the last 10 years. And then all of these things are true. And also the reason why I am so good at this, like maybe I would have been good at this naturally, but the passion and the drive that comes from this is the fact that I left my religion when I was 24, and every single person, including all of my family, decided to disconnect from me. So in English, we call it, they disowned me because I'm not part of the religion. And both sides of my family, up until like my great grandparents, so 4 generations back, are in this religion. So it's like everyone is gone. I have a couple cousins that I'm still connected to. But other than that, and then like every single person I knew until I was 24 was just gone. And when we talk about a pain point, like yesterday was Easter here in the world. I just noticed it here because like people really celebrate it here in Germany. And I was like feeling kind of depressed yesterday, and I was like, why am I feeling this? And then I have to really own and acknowledge that anytime there are holidays, anytime there are periods where people are connected to their family, is going to be a moment where I'm sad. And it's okay. But this is just a moment I have to acknowledge in myself that this is because I don't have that direct connection to my blood family in this life. And again, this is a heartache for me, yes. And how is this a gift that I can give the world? Because I don't have a strong connection to my blood family, I have chosen to build community around the whole world. So this was like a hole in my heart. And I've chosen to mend this hole by expanding and allowing other people into my life, like all of you beautiful listeners here, and everyone else who has come into my community, extended this warm welcome of, hey, we're in this together. You belong here. We are connected to each other. Because I know what it feels like to not belong anywhere in the world. I know what it feels like to feel like so disconnected from everyone. I don't want anyone to ever feel that way. And then also, another example is, I got married at 18 as a virgin, and I wasn't connected to my sexuality. And if anything, my sexuality has been very suppressed my entire life when it comes to my religion, always telling me that I was not dressing modestly enough. And I was too, basically, they were just implying I was too sexual in my energy field, which is just kind of who I am as a person. So basically, they were just denying who I was as a person in order to fit into the community. And when I left that religious community, I realized, wow, this is something that's really a pain point for me. I've never felt that I've been able to really embody my sexuality in a way where I feel empowered by it, where it's a superpower. And so I went on a journey and trying to figure out what that meant for me. And along the way, I started to help other people with their sexuality, because for me, it's something that I can talk about all day long. I love talking to people about. I love holding people in a safe way when it comes to their own programming and their own negative beliefs and their own trauma around their sexuality. It's because I can really say, yeah, I've been there. I know what that feels like, because I really have. It has been a heartache for me. And so it's a gift that I can give them. So for you, I am positive that there are things in your world, in your reality, that have been heartaches for you. We all have them. This is part of being human. And this is our opportunities for growth. And this is also the beautiful gifts that we can give the world. So again, I invite you to sit down on a piece and write out on a piece of paper, what are some things that have been pain points for you in your life? What are some hard things that you've gone through? And then ask yourself, how can I help other people with this? Is there something that is part of my soul mission to really help the world in this way? And how can I amplify, and inspire and activate other people through my own journey? And I'm positive, I am 100% positive there is ways that you can do this. Right before this podcast, I had a coaching client, and we were talking about this, and I was just saying to her, I was like, it's so inspiring to other people when you're able to share your story with the world, when you're able to be real and raw with people, because this is what we're living for. This is what feels like connection to all of us. And she was telling me how much that this really meant to her, that I was able to, just be so grounded, but also so vulnerable at the same time. Yeah, this is really what I've gone through, and how much that's inspired her. And I'm like, this is what I'm here for. We're here to activate each other, to inspire each other. So I'm saying all of this because you have something in you that can help activate and inspire the world. And what a beautiful soul mission that is for you, because it is something that the most ironic part of all of this is that by offering this gift to the world, you're actually able to heal this part of your heart that has been through heartache. When I create community, when I help people embody themselves in their sexuality, when I activate people to live whatever life is their most dream desires, it is healing this part of myself that was in pain and going through my own heartache. So it's so beautiful that through our own personal disconnection that we had in these different moments of our life, we can create more connection in the future by sharing this with others and by inspiring them and helping them in these ways. And the one thing that I wanted to say, if you take one thing away from this podcast, is that if you're going through any moment in your life right now where you're feeling ungrounded, or where you're feeling I don't know, what is the point of living? I want to tell you that you are so connected, that you are so loved by myself, by the universe, by God, by your community. And the biggest thing for all of us to do is to go out there and allow ourselves to receive that connection. So what does that look like for you? What are some opportunities for this? I have found that in today's world, it feeds off of our disconnection from ourselves. So today's world is all about distracting you from your own inner world. And, social media does this. Just going outside can do this. There's so much external stimulation. And this is why meditation is really beautiful. Journaling is really beautiful. Anything that helps you, breath work is really beautiful. Anything that helps you connect to your own inner world. You're literally like, what are you thinking right now? What are you feeling right now? It's not about what other people are thinking or feeling. It's like, what is your reality? And allowing yourself to ground into your connection with yourself and your higher self. So you can call it your soul, God, source. This is the core of what I want you to take away. All of us need to find our own grounded place inside of ourselves. And once we have this grounded place and we are operating from this perspective, the center, then we can go out into the world and we can attract in people that are vibrating on the same reality as us. So that might sound esoteric, but what I mean is basically if you are a happy person who loves dogs and you're grounded in that reality, then you're going to go out and find other people who are naturally happy and who love dogs. Like this is just a natural thing because you're going to be going to events where there's dogs there. You're going to be going to the park where there's dogs. Like you're going to naturally be doing things in your life that's going to attract in people on the same vibe as you. So, but it's important first to connect to that version of you that understands who you are and what you want in the world. Because if you don't know what that is, then you're not going to be able to attract in the opportunities, the people, the connections that you need. And then the second thing is it's so important to have your soul family, your community, whatever that word is for you, like your community, your friends, it can be your blood family, to be in contact with these people. Like for me, it's really important that every single day I literally physically touch someone who is part of my soul family. And what that means usually is like we hug each other and we're hanging out and, I'm in physical contact with people that I love. And the energy is being shared in between me and these people. And for me, that is something that's very, it fuels me. Like it literally recharges me. I feel like I'm plugging in. I'm getting recharged energetically. And for you, you can also have this where, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of a natural human need that a lot of us are trying to act like we don't have, which doesn't make any sense to me, that we all need connection and we all need community. We need community of like-minded people. So this is people who are on the same interests as us, maybe the same soul mission, maybe they have the same outlook of how the world works. Because when we're around these people, they can remind us and amplify who we already are on the inside. So this is why I'm saying it's really important to isolate and activate who you are on a soul level. What is your soul mission? So what are the things that are really important to you and that were your heartaches in the past? Maybe still are your heartaches sometimes, but these are gifts that you can give the world. And then to surround yourself with people who are supporting this version of you and amplifying it and encouraging you and believing in you. And also people that you can have fun with. I was just talking to a friend yesterday that sometimes we can get so set on our mission that we forget that we need to also have fun, that we need to just have times where we're just being little kids. Like right now, this is totally how I feel in Berlin. I'm just bicycling around and just floating and being such a little kid. And I find it also funny because a lot of people come to Thailand and Southeast Asia to allow this part of themselves out, the inner child, to play and just flow and end up in random places and have fun. And because for me, living in Thailand, that's the place where I'm primarily taking care of my community. I feel that I'm actually able to be more anonymous and more of my inner child is coming out here in Europe, because when I go outside, people don't know me as much. Because on the island, it's literally I go outside and everyone knows me. I know everyone. And I love that. That is being in deep community, but also because I'm a community leader, it comes with sometimes responsibility. A lot of times it comes with responsibility. But I do want to say that like yesterday I went to a flea market here in Berlin, and one of you beautiful listeners was like, "Oh, I know you." Like, you came up to me and you were saying like hi, and like that I inspired you through the podcast and stuff. And I wanted to tell you that if you see me here in Berlin, please come up and give me a hug. I would love a hug. I would love to meet you and witness you in your story and hear however I've affected you in your life, because this is really inspiring for me too. This is community vibes. And I've just had a couple of you reach out and say like, "Oh, I saw you, but I didn't want to interrupt, or I was nervous or whatever." And I honor that, but I just wanted to say that this is like, we're in on this together, like I am just as much like, feeling inspired and activated by how much I'm helping all of you as you are to receive it. So this is like the positive energy exchange. And the last thing I wanted to say here is that the reason why it is so inspiring for me to officially launch my company. So my overarching company that I'm creating right now is called the House of Pleasure. And the reason why this is so beautiful for me is because I feel that all of us are operating from the sensations happening in our body. So this is like somatic experiencing, right? And we can stay in our center, which is the neutral place. Most of the world is operating from a place of either fear or pain. So that's like literally how they interpret the world. And I'm just talking like in general day-to-day life. I would like to create a different bubble of reality where people are operating from, or they have the opportunity and the tools to operate from a place of pleasure in their life. And this is not just talking about sexuality. This is talking about like literally enjoying every single moment as much as you can, and enjoying how beautiful it is to be a human in this life. And I just find this to be so fun, and I'm so excited to create this reality and to invite all of you into it. I think in small measures I've been doing this over the years, and this is my time to finally like go big in the world and to really create a community around this that is operating from this place of like, I choose to allow all of the beautiful emotions through, and I choose to enjoy it and to enjoy every step of the way. This Thursday, I'm hosting a Tantra community dinner here in Berlin, for my community here. So if you're in Berlin, it's April 24th, here Thursday. I think that's the day. Yep. I'm hoping that I'm saying this day right, but I just know it's on Thursday, but I think it's April 24th. And then next Wednesday, I'm hosting a play party here in Berlin, Vanilla Play Party, April 30th. The day before May Day, which I found out is a big holiday here in Germany. So we're going to have a beautiful, yummy, deep immersion to launch the summer here. And the place I'm hosting it in is has a sauna, and it's like super luxury and like just really beautiful location, which I'm really excited for. And honestly, you guys, I've just been having so much fun, like bicycling around and like drinking chai, like on sunny terraces, reading my book, overlooking the park, and just enjoying all the food here that we don't have in Asia. Every single day I've been eating like an entire carton of organic blueberries and raspberries. Just like how other people eat candy, I'm just like eating berries because we don't have those in Thailand. We have amazing mangoes and watermelon and other natural fruits. I just really also enjoy berries. And so I've been like really just like enjoying the experience of being human and being able to eat all of these things. So I just wanted to share that with you, that like sometimes it's like these little things that just like, they feel so good in my body. And I think that it's important to like honor them and celebrate them. And just like, enjoy the yumminess of the human experience, because we're here and we're having this human experience. So like, why not make it the most epic one ever and also have as much fun as possible. So that's what I'm here for. And I'm sending you all lots of love. I'm signing off from Berlin, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.